Imagine waking up and realizing that your best days aren't behind you, but ahead of you. For over a century, the greatest tragedy of human life has been the one-way street of the mind. We were taught that we are born with a set number of neurons, and as we age, those neurons inevitably wither and die. We watched our grandparents lose their memories, then our parents, and we assumed that one day, the same fog would settle over us. We treated the brain like a battery that slowly drains until it hits zero. But in February 2026, that entire foundation of biology was shattered. A team of elite researchers discovered that the dying brain isn't actually dying, it's just entering a state of deep, protective hibernation. The neurons are still there. The hardware is still intact. It's simply waiting for a signal that we didn't know existed. Today, we are exploring the discovery of the DMTF1 protein. A molecular master key that can reach into the deepest parts of your neural architecture and flip the switch from decay to growth. This isn't just a medicine, it is a reboot for the human experience. To understand the breakthrough, we have to look at the sleeping giants inside your skull, neural stem cells. These cells are the ultimate repair crew. When you are a child, they are incredibly active, constantly building new pathways that allow you to learn languages, master sports, and absorb the world like a sponge. However, as we hit our 30s and 40s, these cells undergo a process called senescence. They don't disappear. They just stop responding to the world. They become zombie cells that take up space but provide no benefit. For decades, the mystery was why. Why would evolution design a brain that gives up halfway through life? The old theory was that it was a safety mechanism to prevent cancer. But the 2026 data shows it's actually a communication breakdown. The stem cells are waiting for a specific chemical, handshake, to tell them it's safe to divide and repair. Without that handshake, they stay dormant, leading to the cognitive decline we've associated with aging for thousands of years. We've been living in a house where the repairmen are all asleep in the basement while the roof leaks. Now, we finally found the alarm clock. The hero of this story is a protein called DMTF1. While it has been known to science for a few years, its true power was only unlocked this month. Think of DMTF1 as the software update for your biology. In high-resolution 2026 imaging, scientists observed that when DMTF1 levels are boosted, it travels directly to the nucleus of those sleeping stem cells. It cleans out the biological trash that causes cells to stall and forces them back into the cell cycle. It is a literal spark that jumpstarts the engine of neurogenesis, the creation of new neurons. What makes this truly epic is the efficiency. In clinical trials, the introduction of DMTF1-based therapy didn't just slow down memory loss, it physically changed the structure of the brain. The hippocampus, the area responsible for memory and navigation, actually began to regrow in size. We are talking about 70-year-old brains showing the plasticity and fire of a 25-year-old. This discovery proves that aging is not a fundamental law of physics like gravity, it is a biological program. And for the first time in history, we have the code required to rewrite that program from the inside out. If we can control the DMTF1 protein, we aren't just helping healthy people stay sharp, we are ending the era of neurological despair. Alzheimer's and dementia are the ultimate thieves, they steal your past, your personality, and your dignity. Currently, we only have drugs that mask the symptoms or slightly slow the damage. But a DMTF1-based treatment represents a cure by regeneration. Instead of trying to protect a dying brain, we are simply growing a new, healthy one in its place. This is the difference between patching an old tire and installing a brand new one. The 2026 breakthrough suggests that many incurable brain diseases are actually just extreme versions of cellular sleep. By waking up the repair mechanisms, we can potentially clear out the amyloid plaques and tangles that cause these diseases before they ever take hold. We are looking at a future where the long goodbye is a thing of the past. Imagine a society where 100-year-olds have the mental clarity to start new careers, write books, and contribute their centuries' worth of wisdom to the world without the burden of a failing mind. This is the grand reset of the human lifespan. We are standing at the most important crossroads in the history of our species. For all of time, the limit of a human life was defined by the limit of the human brain. We accepted that our minds would eventually fail us. But the discovery of the DMTF1 protein tells us that this limit was an illusion. We have discovered that we are built with the internal machinery to stay young forever, we just didn't have the manual until now. As we move into the late 2020s, the regenerative era will change how we plan our lives, our retirements, and our legacies. But this discovery brings up a massive question: if we can stay young forever, who are we? If the struggle against time is removed, what defines the human spirit? We are no longer just biological accidents waiting to fade into the night. We are the architects of our own evolution. The ghost in the machine is finally taking control of the machine itself. The future isn't about how long we live, but how much more we can become now that our minds are no longer on a timer. The reset button has been pressed. Welcome to the new age of humanity. This is the most important health news of the decade, and it happened just days ago. But I want to hear from you. If you could reset your brain to age 20, would you do it? Is there a risk to living too long with a young mind? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you want to stay on the cutting edge of these 2026 breakthroughs, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. The future is happening faster than you think, and you don't want to miss a single second.